Okay, party people, what's going on? This is the vlog. The vlog is back. I stopped vlogging. I don't know why. Something wrong with my brain. I cannot force myself to do things consistently for some reason. Some things. But I'm back. I'm back now. This is the vlog. This is Calgary, Alberta. We're walking, we're talking. Let's see. On this planet, currently, there are several wars. There's a genocide being committed against the Palestinians. Our Canadian leader has just met with Mr. Donald Trump, and arguably the meeting went terribly, as one would expect it to. In my area of the world, our premier has just announced that we might be... No, what did she say? She said there could be a referendum in the future, but it's not going to be a referendum to decide if this province should separate from Canada. So, what kind of referendum are you talking about, if not that kind of referendum? Very strange, extremely strange. If I were her, if I were the premier of this province, I would build a bullet train between the two major cities. But alas, I am not the premier of Alberta, so who gives a shit what I think? And I'm on my very beautiful pathway that I walk on to get home. And I don't want you to know where I live, so I'm gonna do one of these. I'm gonna do a tricky thing. Watch this. Where did I go? Ta-da! I'm just kidding. I don't care if you know. Because what are you gonna do? Visit me? What are you gonna do? Visit my house? Highly unlikely that any of you would want to visit this house. So yeah, I'm vlogging again. This is a 4-minute vlog so far. I don't have hair gel, so my hair looks fluffy like a baby duck. Thankfully, I'm not scowling. Sometimes this line makes me look angry. But I'm not angry. How do I get rid of that? Relax and smile. Still there. Definitely relax. And if you're watching this video and you're not relaxed, I encourage you also to relax. It's really quite good for you. Good for your mental health. I know that we all have careers that maybe stress us out during the day, or if you work nights, but yeah, if you can relax, especially when you finish work, I would encourage you to do that. I was just talking to someone about poetry. I've made a couple of vlogs about poetry. One of my vlogs was a poem. It was a poem about shaving. Shaving your face. I guess it could be about shaving your legs too, maybe. I mean, it could be about shaving anything. And that was a poem, I guess you could say, a video poem. The thing I was talking about today with regard to poetry is I was trying to tell someone who my favorite poets were. And I started my list with Charles Bukowski. But I told the person, he was a drunk. He was a bit angry, maybe. Is that the right word? Angry? He could have been, you could call him jaded. So, you kind of have to read Bukowski with that in mind. But man, did he ever describe life, like the realness of life. He had a way of describing it unlike a lot of people. And then the person I was talking to mentioned romanticism. And romanticism, like, first of all, Charles Bukowski, I would not describe him as a romantic poet. So right away, I started thinking, do I dislike romantic poetry because Bukowski is one of my favorites? But I don't think I do. One of the reasons I like poetry is because it's romantic. I will explain a bit. So what I know about the romantic movements is that I believe they started in Western Europe and then moved across the continent, and a lot of that influenced North American poetry as well as Eastern European poetry, maybe Asian poetry. Is that a stretch to say that the romantic movement, the romantic poetry spread from Germany, France, England, all the way to China, Japan, India, Australia, maybe? I don't know. But do you? Do you know? It seems like it spread. One thing I read about the Enlightenment period is that after the Enlightenment, there was a rejection of those ideas. So I guess you could call them, the Enlightenment was all about reason, logic, facts, proofs, things that were enlightened. And so what I read is that there was a reaction to that. So after the Enlightenment was, I guess, the opposite to logic and reason would be like fiction and stories and sci-fi, right? I think so. And so I think romantic literature and theater, and then eventually movies, came out of that reaction to enlightenment. So that's kind of interesting that a scientific movement, is it a movement? A period in history that's based on science and logic and reason was counteracted, or like a lot of times I've noticed in history, and I'm not the only one to say this, but there's a pendulum effect. So if something happens, for example, the Enlightenment, which is scientific, there's like an anti-science pushback where people are less interested in what is factual and more interested in what is good and positive and makes people happy and joyful. So that's why, like, good storytelling, good poetry, songs, music has always had lyrics and sounds that try to uplift people, and they're not based on facts. There's no proofs. There's no proof in a song and in a lyric. So I guess that makes sense to me, that there was a reaction to a period that was very focused on science and proving theories. But I also really like facts, because without facts, a human being can fall and slide into delusion and psychosis and really nasty ideas about what is going on this planet. So I wouldn't want to live in a purely romantic or artistic culture. I think that a balance is important. And so poetry, like the art form, the history of poetry, I think would maybe be somewhat balanced. There might be a lot of, or a certain number of Charles Bukowskis that are describing the nitty-gritty, ugly parts of life, the daily grind to earn a paycheck and survive and try to keep your relationships together and not be addicted to whatever, gambling or drugs or even money. You don't want to be obsessed with money. That's not healthy. So there's those kind of poets, and then there are the romantics that aren't necessarily describing all that stuff, and they are they're in love and they're obsessed and they're passionate and maybe they don't even have jobs, you know? So how can you be mad at the world if you don't even work? That's a pretty good life. You're just hanging out. I guess the only downside to not having a career or anything that is driving you is you can become complacent or bored, and that is a painful way to exist as well. If you don't have any goals, if you don't have anyone motivating you to improve, coaching you, parenting you sometimes, or like a lot of times your spouse or your significant other will encourage you to continually grow and get healthier and try harder things. But just to play devil's advocate, a good partner or friend would also encourage you to work on your art. Don't neglect art and creativity. So don't just don't just slave your life away for the man. Make something. Get on stage and tell a joke. Film a skit. Write a sketch. You know, just something interesting. Film it. Make a podcast. Make an audio. Make an audio show that will exist on the internet forever. You could do that. You have the ability to do that. And your significant other, if they're a good one, if they're a good partner, they'll encourage you to pursue your art forms because they love you. And someone that loves you would never want you to be creatively idle and bored and stagnant. So balance is key. Everything in moderation, including moderation. Don't moderate everything, you know. You don't want to have too much moderation. You don't want to be a moderator, like on Discord, or where are the moderators? Reddit. Oh my god. If you're watching this and you're a Reddit moderator, I don't know. I don't know if you should be watching this. I don't know about you. Why are you doing that? Why are you moderating free speech? Did you ask yourself that? You moderator? All right, so this has been 18 minutes and 39 seconds of my life, and I'm glad I did it. I don't know what the future of my vlog is going to look like. It was about 2 weeks. I took a solid break. I'm sorry. Who am I apologizing to? You're like I don't even know you, man. So yeah. Oh, and the other thing is, of course, you probably know I have my my other YouTube channel called The Straight Man Podcast with my friend Ed, a fellow stand-up comedian, and so we're making vlogs, sort of. We're making podcasts, I guess. But a podcast and a vlog are nearly identical products, if you ask me. One, I guess, has a video, but all the podcasts have video now. Every podcast has video. All the major podcasts have video. So, I don't know. Like, I think the real difference between the art forms now is there's radio and there's YouTube, right? Isn't that where we're at? Sure, everything makes it onto Spotify, but that's because Spotify is on every phone. The actual content, this is the weirdest side note. I don't know why I'm talking about this. This is just a theory that I'm working on, but I think that the future of media might be some kind of crossover between radio, which is currently still consumed like in cars and at work. Maybe you'd have the radio on. But YouTube, a lot of people are watching YouTube at work or in their car. So I don't know. I see some changes coming. I'm hoping that my co-host Ed will go with me in terms of what I kind of want to do is create some old school radio style podcasting before podcasting dies. I think maybe this is the end of podcasting, and so I want to try to slip in some interesting creative projects that are audio only. Do some voices, do some impressions, impersonations, some secret, like, the beauty of radio is that the audience can't see you. And so I think that's the benefit of radio. And so I want to use that. So I'm hoping that Ed will do some character work with me. I have a few other comedian friends that are interested in doing characters. A couple in Toronto, a person in Vancouver, someone in Europe, a guy in the US. So characters, if you're into characters and you know about this, DM me, direct message me, or comment, because I see podcasting dying within 9 months. You heard it here first. If it doesn't die, it just morphs into video, into YouTube, Spotify videos, and it's gonna change, I'm telling you. I don't know what's gonna happen to radio, because radio, it's installed in your car. Cars aren't going anywhere. So and you can't, see, this is the thing. You cannot drive and watch a video. That's illegal. So somehow, because of that, I mean, people still do it, but what I'm saying is videos and cars will never merge. So radio will stay in cars. And but podcasting, it's changing. Everything's going on YouTube, and then Spotify. We'll see. I mean, Spotify has video, right? Everyone knows that. It's no secret. So thanks for watching. I hope that this little discussion about poetry has maybe inspired you to write some poetry. If you haven't been writing, try it out. I'm sure you have it in you. And if not, if you don't feel like writing anything, then you can always read the great works of Charles Bukowski, the European Romantics, and I will find out. I will do a little bit more research, and I will bring you a list. On my next vlog, I'm committing to a top 10 poets. A personal list. Top 10 poets in human history. And I will choose 5 women and 5 men just to make it equal. So you don't have to wait for me to make another vlog. Just follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, and I will let you know when my next vlog is. But I am going to try to make them at least weekly. Daily was not. Come on. Daily's not in the cards. I just don't have enough to talk about. I really don't. It builds up in my head over the course of a week or two, and then I want it to come out, and I want to record it. But every day, what do people? This is what I don't understand about my favorite vlogger in Japan, Nomad Push. What is he using for the words? Where do they come from? How does he know? I mean, yeah, he talks to animals, and that's a little bit like cheating, but it's smart. If you have to talk all day because it's his job, he's made it his job to be a full-time vlogger, talk to the animals. The other thing he does, now that I'm thinking about him, is he'll describe what's around him. So right now, I got this university across from me, and I see all the students. They're going home for the day. The professors are probably there a little bit later, but the cars are there. Maybe some people go to the gym after class, because it's evening, the sun's setting. So I see some cars in the parking lot, but that's what's going on. I haven't seen one dog walker. That's kind of weird. Usually at this time, I would see at least 3 dogs and their owners. So I can't explain that. I cannot explain that. It's a what day is it? Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday. So I don't know, maybe there's less dogs on Tuesdays. All right. I feel like I'm becoming boring by the second. So I'll see you next time, and I hope life is treating you okay, and treat yourself well. Love yourself. Give yourself any type of self-care that you need to, whether that's food or masturbation. Just do it. Just get it done. And if you need to fall in love, just say hi. Just say hi to someone you don't know that you find attractive, and what's the worst that could happen? Or, you know what I like? The old trick, good old trick. Ask someone what time it is. Trust me. That works. I 100% can confirm I have dated people that I asked the time of, and then we dated in real life. So that works. That is one of the oldest but most effective pickup lines in the history of humanity. So if you're looking for love and you'd like to have sex, then just try that. Peace.